Good evening, hello and good evening. Welcome to TTL F1. This is the Challenge Cup for season number 14, the end of season award that everybody wants to win, and we have ourselves a mighty feast in front of us. It is the F2 cars, and we're going for a feature race, then a sprint race. So these drivers, some of these might not have been in the F2 cars today. Of course, the 2019 F2 cars were released today. However, that's not on the schedule today. We're in the F2 2018 cars for tonight. And joining me for the Challenge Cup for this evening is Andy Campbell. Andy, we've got a night ahead of us. We've got the feature race, we've got the sprint race, and then we've got the Season 15 announcement straight after the Challenge Cup. It's going to be a heck of a night.
It's going to be a heck of a night indeed, yes indeed. Good evening everybody, welcome along to the stream for the end of Season 14, the Challenge Cup in the F2 2018 car, and we're taking it to a track that the cars have never actually really been to. We're taking them to Albert Park in Melbourne, Australia. Of course, it is a cup, it is a bit more laid back, everybody still wants to win of course. And we're obviously trialling out what's going to be I believe, the new layout for F2, TTL F2 on Tuesday nights for next season as well, with the proper feature and sprint race scenarios. And that will obviously mean then, surely, if I remember correctly, they've got to make one pit stop during the feature race as well. So that'll be interesting to see how that one goes. Looking forward to seeing how this goes, and then obviously stick around afterwards because we've already recorded it, thankfully, because I don't fancy doing this until God knows what time. But we've got the announcements for who will be driving where in TTL F1 next season, so do stick around for that after the stream.
Yeah, well, we're going to be finding out who takes which position. So what that means is that the pressure's off the drivers tonight, Andy, because in essence the car selections have already been made, so there's really no pressure from these guys. They can just race themselves and go for that Challenge Cup, the one that everyone wants to win.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, everybody wants to be part of that honours list that is the TTL F1 honours list. Lyronix has obviously added himself to that with a Drivers' Championship for Season 14 that you would have seen last week in Abu Dhabi. And it'd be interesting to see if we see another new name added to that tonight, or will we see someone who's won a Challenge Cup previously take the honours once again. It's going to be an interesting race. These cars are very tricky to drive in comparison to the F1 cars. There's not as much downforce, but it is more of a purer driving experience as well. There's no ERS management, there's no fuel management to deal with. It's just drive it and manage the tyres. That is it. There's none of that technical gubbins that you get in the F1 car, so it is more of a purer driving experience, but they are still a bit of a handful at the best of times as well.
Really? There's no fuel management? Are you sure?
No, absolutely sure.
Well, I didn't know that. Well, then there we go. Well, we're getting straight into it, Andy. 50% feature race with one shot qualifying to begin with. The top 8 from the feature race then are reversed for the sprint race. And as Andy has said, the feature race, you need to make one mandatory stop. For the sprint race, you can go to the end. 17 laps for the feature race, 12 laps for the sprint race. And Andy, this is going to be a format you and I think, have never actually done before.
No, definitely not done this kind of scenario, certainly not in this game. Obviously TTL F2 was just running 100% feature race distance for the season that's just finished, but this is going to be the format a bit more similar to the real life format when we get into the new season. So this could be different, gives us a bit of a trial run as well at the proper layout, and it gives drivers 2 chances during the night. If you make a mistake within the first race, maybe lose a few positions and drop out of some points or drop a few points, you've still got the chance of gaining some points back in the second race. In the sprint race, might not be worth quite as much points as a feature race, but points still make prizes at the end of the season. Let's see who we're going to go on board with. Hopefully we get the same driver, because we always wonder when we're doing these one-shot qualification things. So just waiting on one driver to ready up, and then we'll see who we've got. Here we go then. So I'm on board with Navy is who I've got, so I hope you've got the same person as well. But we're heading down towards turn 1. Here we go. So you want to pick your braking a little bit earlier than 100 metres here roughly, just to get the car slowed down and turned in to the apex. Through turn 2 nicely. DRS is enabled as always down towards turn number 3, and again around about 100 metres, just nice and easily, just trick it and so carefully into the apex of 3, up to 3rd gear, off throttle through turn 4, Bit of a tank slapper on the way out there. It's going to cost Navy a bit of time. Alan Kay's retired from the session through the kink of turn 5, underneath the bar, the Pirelli board and into turn 6 and 7. Tricky little one there. Nice bit of curve from Navy through the curve of what is turn number 8, and we're heading up to the chicane of turn 9. This is a tricky corner, I believe, as well. It's so easy to lock up if you're not running any assist. Navy keeping it in third gear, nice and simple through there. Now we're going through the curve. You've got the Albert Park Lake to the side. There's no time for surfing here tonight. We're heading up to the fastest part of the track, the fast chicane, but in these cars you need to slow it down a wee bit more. That might be an overcut there from Navy. DRS wide open and he's backed right out of the lap, so I'm just going to quickly jump to the next driver, which is T-Raw, heading down towards turn 13. Again, on to the brakes, and he's retired from the session as well, so we're jumping on board now with light I am anyway. It's all change at the bottom, and into the final couple of corners now. Turn 13 could be a good chance for overtaking with DRS up to the final section now. What I believe is turn 15, if I remember correctly, down to second gear, one of the slower corners in the track. Nice and easy. Lighty getting really on the curbs here, keeping it in second gear. He's dropped down the time. It's Jack who takes pole position by around about half a second as well. It's a brilliant lap time from Jack, 33.9 with Recon on a 34.1, and then the season 13 champion is in pole position and looking good so far.
Well, let's hope we got a clean hot lap in. I think I might have chosen the wrong car towards the end then. However, qualifying is as follows. Jack puts it on pole position with Recon in second, the Gort in third, Lyronics in fourth, Maze in fifth, with Barry in sixth, Crazy Legs in seventh and Charlie in eighth. Alan Kay setting no time, with Spike, Traw, Navy and Lighty all not setting lap times. They were disqualified from the session, maybe because of a corner cut, but only by a tenth of a second has Jack got that lap time from Recon. And, you know, Andy, this is a good chance to see some of the familiar faces. You know, obviously they're hoping to be there for next season. They've already been decided. So this is their last race of season 14 to have a bit of fun, but also to try and show teams what they're missing out on. Obviously, we'll find out later on who has who. But yeah, it's a chance to show teams that they might be looking at this race and thinking, oh, I wish we'd actually signed him.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, obviously, we know because we've had to pre-record the video,
no,
so we know who's where. We need to behave ourselves. But, yeah, we're saying nothing, obviously. I'll give you 2-1 that one of us drops one of them anyway, but hey. What was interesting in that qualifying session, though, is a couple of drivers in there on the medium compound tyre. Now, if I remember correctly, it's super soft because it's still the 2018 cars, remember. I believe it's just the super soft and the medium that's available. The medium is, of course, the white banded tyre, and there was 3 drivers in that top 8 that were on the medium tyre. I'll just double check who they were again in just a second, because we all need to start on them, of course. So it was Lyronics in P4 in the Arden car, along with Old Man Barry in P6, and it looks like, I think Charlie was on the mediums as well, but he's obviously been able to change them. Maybe being in P8 or P9 didn't count, so I'm sure I've seen 3 drivers in there. But as you can see, Spike, T-Raw, Navy and Lighty have all gone for the longer first stint as well. And these cars are interesting. Obviously, I've done the F2 race at the Circuit of Americas. I couldn't make the finale in Abu Dhabi on Tuesday due to not having the internet back until today. These are tricky cars to drive. There's not as much downforce, so you can't really throw them into the corner. The old way of driving that people talk about, slow in, fast out, they do really apply to these kind of cars much more than their F1 counterparts. So this is a different challenge. Some of these drivers are doing the F2 championship this season. It's just passed, so they'll be a wee bit familiar with these cars, but there's a few drivers here that haven't done any F2 championship, maybe even not driven the car very much either, except for offline. So that's going to make a wee bit of throwing the cat amongst the pigeons, shall we say. Be interested to see who comes out on top.
I really wanted you to say the alternate version of that line, throw pigeons among the cats or whatever. But what I have noticed though...
No ideas on the night.
What I have noticed though in this new update is we have telemetry for the F2 cars in the bottom right hand corner. So that's a nice little touch. I've been waiting for that for a while. And as you can see there, there's no rich mix, there's no ERS, there's none of that. So the drivers are just with the cars, and it's just them and their driving ability that's going to get them to where they need to be. Of course, feature race coming up here with 17 laps around here, Albert Park. and followed by the sprint race very shortly afterwards. Of course, the top 8 gets reversed, and we go again for the sprint race. Full F1 points are on offer here, so 25 points for the winner, all the way down to 1 point for 10th place, and of course the fastest lap gets 1 point. So then, we make our way on towards the grid for the feature race here in the TTL F1 Challenge Cup. It is Jack on pole, Recon in second, the Gort in third, Lyronix fourth, Maze fifth, Old Man Barry in sixth, Brazeleg seventh, Charlie eighth, Alan K ninth, Spike in 10th, Draw in 11th, Navy 12th, and Lighty in 13th place. We are moments away then from the feature race in Melbourne and waiting to get things underway. The starts in these cars are always tricky. There's been a couple of them saying that in these past week, but here we are then with 5 red lights. Feature race is underway, and what are the starts like? Looks like it's a good start from Jack, but an even better start from Lyronix in the background behind. Watch out for Maze there as they make their way now down towards turn 1. Jack on the outside, and he gets a lightning start then. Up the field he goes. The Gort gets position, but Lyronix is right behind then as they make their way through turn 2. Watch out for Recon as well then. Up
big
ahead, we've got yellow flag to the background. Spike involved. There's Navy as well as Barry is out of the race completely. Front wheel taken off the car just out of turn 2, and I'm not sure if you saw what happened there, Andy, but we're looking at Jack here.
I only caught the end of it.
Jack's got the lead as we now make our way through turn 5. Great move from Jack there, the season 13 champion, but Recon is not going to take that line down. He's right behind Jack here as we make our way now through turn 7, now through turn 8, on the run now towards turn 9. And Jack here trying to do his best to defend this position. Recon, is he going to go for the move up the inside? He tried it, but no dice there, and the Gort has come from nowhere and taken out Recon. The Gort missed his braking zone completely going into turn number 9 there, and he's taken out Recon with him. So Recon there, who was battling for the lead of the race, now all the way down the order. Meanwhile, Maze and Charlie here going side by side now through that S section. Maze takes the inside line, and Maze now takes 3rd place. Charlie then down to 4th place, and Charlie here has just kept his nose clean. Now up into 4th place. Here comes Crazy Legs though, up the inside in towards, that is turn 13, but he can't quite take advantage. How about into 14? No, he backs out of that one too. But Charlie here is up in 4th place. That's a great start from him. And Crazy Legs tries again in towards turn 15. Nothing doing for him once again. But meanwhile then, Jack, who had his closest rival just really taken out at turn 9, leads the way after the first lap here in the feature race. Lyronix second, Maze in 3rd, with Charlie 4th, Crazy Legs in 5th, Alan K in 6th, Lighty 7th, Recon there is in 8th, Traw into the pit lane in 9th, Navy is in 10th, and then Spike in 11th, and then the Gort in 12th place as well. He's the only one of the final 4 there to actually pit in. But Andy, coming back to you, let's switch it back to you. What happened there on lap number 1?
Well, unfortunately, I didn't have the greatest of camera angles. I had that long panning one from turn 1, but there was a few cars side by side going through turn 1 and 2, and it just jumped at the wrong point, so I didn't catch all of it, unfortunately. All I seen was obviously what you caught the end of. Old Man Barry in the wall with -1 front wheel spike, and Traw getting caught up in that as well. And you then obviously further round the lap, great battling between Jack and Recon, and the Gort. He must have thought he was still in an F1 car with the braking that late, because that was licking the stamp and it was returned to sender. Unfortunately, Recon was in the way of it as well. That's dropped him down the field. So, frantic start. And I did say in the formation lap, some of these drivers didn't race in the F2 league. They might not have done much driving in these cars, and it seemed to have shown maybe a little bit there. Some of them just getting maybe a little bit of a, I'm in the F1 car, I brake here, oh wait a minute, I can't brake that much. I've done it myself plenty of time. But I think turn 1, but I think it was Crazy Legs. I don't think he contacted anyone, but he got a bit of a jump at the start. He got a really, really good start. He was up in the middle of a few cars going down to turn 1, and I think that just punched the pack up going into the first turn, and that's just caused the concertina effect. And obviously, as then seen the issues it was seen down the field, it does mean obviously Jack's got himself nearly 4 seconds here lead. Maze is up in the P3 as well, Charlie up 4 places, Lighty up 7 from the back of the grid. Recon and the Gort are the biggest losers in amongst all that, but of course Traw, Navy and Spike have now stopped, and they've obviously changed onto different compound tyres. Navy back out in the super soft, so he's going to have to pit again, I'm sure, unless he thinks he can get into it. But then again, with a 17 lap race, he might still get into the end, so he should be good to go, unless he did start on them. I can't remember if he started on neutrons or not, but frantic first lap. Dream start though for Jack, it's given him all the room in the world, seeing his nearest rival taken out in recon, because he was looking pretty feisty and pretty quick on that opening lap.
It was indeed. Recon there had a little bit of a moment, but now he's right on the back of Alan Kay then as they now make their way up towards turn 9. Recon goes for it up the inside, and he manages to slow the car down in time and takes away 7th place and looks to try and make a charge back up through the field as we now make our way on towards 11 and 12. And Alan Kay might have a little go back at him here. No, he backs out of it, realises that through 11 and 12, that's not a smart idea in a Formula 1 car, let alone a Formula 2 car that has much less downforce. One thing to note as well is because this is set up as a lobby, an F2 lobby, it means it goes by the official standings of 2018, but the difference is that pole position gets 4 points, fastest lap of the feature race gets 2 points, but in our point scoring tonight there are 0 points for pole position and only 1 point for the fastest lap. So don't take everything at face value tonight. Of course there will be stewards' inquiries as well, so don't take everything at face value. It won't work. Recon then setting the fastest lap of the race as he looks to make a charge up towards his next target, which will be Light E.
Yeah, he seems to be very quick at the moment, Recon, trying to make up the time there. It was lost. He's just set the fastest lap of the race so far, a 37.7. Nearest to that, I believe, is your race leader and Charlie, 38.2s from both of them. You can see there's a few drivers, if you look at the fastest laps that we would normally see towards the front end of the grid, struggling a bit. Traw's only done a 44, Navy a 43, and Spike on a 44 as well, although he is just finishing his latest lap at the moment. They're the kind of names we would expect on a Thursday night towards the front end of the grid, but not really seen many of them driving F2 cars. Navy's just set a fastest lap there, a couple of tenths, hundredths actually quicker than Recon, so he's trying to make his way through the field. Jack's just keeping it easy at the front, just gaining a couple of tenths here and there, lap on lap, and Recon right onto the back of Light. He gets a nice exit out of the chicane here. DRS is going to make this a relatively easy pass, you'd think, into 13, but he's not gaining quickly enough. He's going to need to be late in the brakes, licking the stamp. Is he able to send it? Does it get through? No contact made! No, he's gone off. And I don't know there if Lighty's turned in on him or if he's got the back end sideways there, but that's Recon round for the second time, and that one's a wee bit more of a 50-50. The first one was certainly not his fault. I was on board and then I jumped to the off-board camera and it was again a wide shot, unfortunately, so hard for me to tell what was going on there. But Recon diving for pit lane this time, so he's maybe deciding, okay, bit of damage maybe to the front wing, let's get off these super soft tyres, run long for the rest of the race and see what time we can make up. But nearly got it through, but another attempt to, we've seen someone trying to make a pass and nil point on that one.
Navy this time going up the inside, in towards turn 13, and gets the move done then in towards 14, and he now goes up, does he? No, Traw's trying to stick it around the outside there, now coming down towards turn 15. Traw is not giving up on this move here, through 15, then through turn 16, but Navy on those super soft tyres just has so much better grip there, so much more mechanical grip. He's able to make the move stick. However, Navy here is going to be a little bit exposed to Traw, then goes defensive into turn 1, and Traw goes to the left hand side. Here then comes Navy trying to take the inside line to try and get a better line through the corner. Spike meanwhile 37.6 on a set of medium tyres, great lap time from him. Meanwhile then Traw now coming up towards turn 3, again he's on the outside onto the entry of the corner, decides not to switch up to 6th gear, staying in 5th and revving it as much as he can. He's all over the back of Navy here, all over that gearbox. Just a quick word from me on that Recon pass. It just looked like he left the braking too late and locked up the rear tyres. That made his back end just stick out, and that's what made the contact. To me, it is 50-50, but the rear brakes of Recon did lock up. So a bit of a racing incident, I think. Both drivers got away with relatively 0 damage. Jack then is into the pits then, leader of the feature race now, comes into the pit lane. And of course, if you've never seen TTL F2, well, you won't know this then. Only 7 people allowed in the pit lane to work on the car, and one of them's the lollipop man. 2 jackmen and 4 people to change the tyres, rather than you see the swarm of people who surround a Formula 1 car to make sure the change happens in under 3 seconds. It's a lot more than that. However, Jack then rejoins in 7th place, and look at that clear track ahead of him. He will absolutely relish in this, and now he knows he's got to get the hammer down.
Yeah, absolutely. So the gap there he's got is 22 seconds till Ironics, who's now into the lead. He will be running longer. He's on the medium tyres, don't forget. But he was about 4 seconds behind Jack, so you would expect, as long as he doesn't make a mistake, that Jack will come out still in the lead. If we just quickly touch onto the action we just watched there between Navy and Tro, Navy nicely positioned his car so well to avoid Tro getting back at him. I'm currently watching the battle, which is between Lighty and Crazy Legs, and I thought there that you might have heard my voice just upscale just slightly. I thought the Russian car there, the Lighty's car, was just about to go into the back of Crazy Legs' car as he got really close to him into the chicane of turn 9 and 10. It's cost him a few tenths there, meaning he can't attack down into turn 13 here at the end of the DRS zone. He's going to have to wait a wee bit longer. Expect to see Crazy Legs into the pits before long, though he is on those super soft tyres compared to the mediums for Lighty, and then that Russian time car is looking a lot quicker at the moment. And there we go, Crazy Legs has gone wide, and he's going to head for pit lane as well, so it makes it a bit of an easier move for Lighty. Maze and Charlie into pit lane, so we've got 3 at the top 5 into pit lane, and that leaves just the medium runners of Lyronics and Lighty heading onwards to continue further on. The Gort's not stopped despite the fact he completely thumped into Recon on the first lap, so he's still managing to go, but he is on super soft tyres as well. And just to mention on Recon, after his issue, didn't change his front wing, so he obviously didn't have any damage. I'm expecting the Gort will though, because he's missing an end plate on the left hand side. He's into the pits just now as well.
Yeah, very busy pit lane on lap number 7. Meanwhile then, Spike is trying to chase down Troll, and Recon 36.8 sets the fastest lap of the race so far. Spike meanwhile got the DRS on Troll. Troll instantly knows that he's a threat behind him going down towards turn 1, and Troll goes defensive. Then Spike having to go around the outside for turn 1. He's going to have to be last of the late breakers, then holds the inside line for turn 2, and do they make it through? Yes, they do. Great racing between the two of them there, and now Spike moves up to 10th place now. Will Troll ever move down the inside? No, he won't. Troll made that as difficult as he possibly could, and with showing respect as well. Great driving between the two of them, and Spike gets the position up to P10 he goes.
Nicely done, and on these medium tyres, Spike is looking a lot more comfortable now, setting a couple of fastest laps as he went along previously as well. Fastest lap is Recon at the moment though. I just noticed there, I was actually watching the Gort's pit stop. Now I've never spotted this before, because this is the first F2 race I've actually commentated on. We see wing changes in F1 and they're still changing the front tyres. In F2, the 2 front tyre changers have to change the wing, and then once the wing's changed, then they change the front tyres after the rears are already done by the 2 at the back. So it's a much bigger penalty if you have to change your wing in F2, and I've never spotted that before, and I thought that was a really nice touch actually in the game, because that's how it would have to be in real life. So that cost the God a lot of time, and anyone else who's having a bit of damage will be trying to avoid breaking their front wing, because that is a lot of time to lose. But great battling between Spike and Tro there. Tro, as you say, he did make it as hard as possible to stop the Carling car coming through, but your runner-up in TTL F1 season 14 was having none of it, and a lovely move into turn 1, starting to just slowly pull away, and you can see there's cars up ahead. They're starting to catch up to the back of Navy up ahead as well, so they'll be catching him before long, and he's trying to make those super softs possibly last to the end of the race as well, so they could fall off a cliff before long.
Yellow flags in sector 3. That looks like the Gort in trouble, and he is, because he's lost another part of his front wing, so he's back into the pit lane again. And as you say, Andy, let's see battles consisting. They're looking like they're just under a second for now, but let's see what Andy's talking about then with this front wing. And look at this then. So you've got the 2 tyres at the back being changed there. And of course there's no rear jackman because he's at the front trying to change the front wing as well. So it is a very, very complicated system here. Then the front tyres get changed. You can see how long it's taking here. Then the rear jack can finally come down, and finally the Gort will get away. And if you're counting at home, that's at least, you know, sort of 10-15 seconds you're looking at there. That's an incredibly long time to be sat there.
Definitely so. I mean, a tyre change normally in an F2 car will be somewhere around about the 5-second mark roughly, and you know, we talk about 1.9 second stops and everything these days. Navy's just stuck one up the inside off Alan Kay. Recon is drifting through the final couple of corners, trying to chase down Crazy Legs. He's within DRS range. It looked like a relatively easyish move for Navy with DRS down into the final corner. Alan Kay locking up. He's now got Spike up behind him as well, and Alan Kay just catching the grass here. I didn't know if he wanted to go for pit lane or not. He is still learning, of course, the no assist. These cars are a nightmare with no assist in my opinion, and Navy into pit lane, so he couldn't take those tyres to the end. Obviously had to change them. Spike then gains 2 places because of that and gets ahead of Alan Kay as well. Traw's going to try and see if he can follow through and get past the Irishman in the ART car. And so we've got Carl in ART and Russian Time all in the one shot there, and it's so weird saying those names rather than Red Bull, Mercedes, etc. Backed up a wee bit further up the field, Recon is right in amongst it with Crazy Legs, although he's just picked up a 3-second time penalty for his troubles on the exit of turn number 7 and 8, and he's going to dive up the inside into turn number 9. This is what he done earlier, and he's managed to get that one slowed down, a little bit opposite lock on the way, and he gets the place done. So he's now ahead of Crazy Legs Charlie, just a second up the road there. Traw is right on the back of Alan Kay. He's going to try and repeat what Recon just did to Crazy Legs, and he gets the car slowed down this time as well, and into turn 9, and Alan Kay down to 10th position, the Russian Time car up into 9. So 2 places gained by 2 different drivers into the same corner there. Alan Kay is going to try and fight back coming up to the fast chicane, but there is no way you're going to make a move through there unless you're completely side by side, and he's lost a bit of ground there coming through the exits. He's going to have to re-hook it up and try again. Back to Recon, and he is right in the back of Charlie now.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, you have to make one mandatory stop in the feature race, so we are yet to see Lyronics and Lighty in the pit lane. Meanwhile, Recon closing in on Charlie as we head now down towards turn 1, and Recon deciding not to go for a move into turn 1. And I think that's the right call there, and that gives him a good run up towards turn 3 if he can get the car and the back end nailed down. Here he goes then up towards turn 3. Late decision and locking up there. Bit of a half-hearted move, and those half-hearted moves can often end in tears, especially for both drivers. But he managed to back out of it, managed to stop the car in time. Recon's really going for it. We've already seen today that aggressive attitude has cost him a couple of positions today. I admit the first one wasn't his fault at all, but the second one, you know, he left us braking as late as he could, and in the end it proved too late because he locked up the rear end.
Yeah, absolutely, as Jack just picks up a wee 3-second time penalty there. It shouldn't make too much of a difference come the end. Recon is looking very quick in these cars. He's got a great run on Charlie now, coming down towards the fast chicane at turns 11 and 12. He's side by side. That is the only way you're going to be able to make a passing move into there. Charlie gives him the space, and it's a nice move there from Recon up in the 5th place as he continues his recovery from that lap 1 incident with the Gort. But yeah, these cars, you can hustle them a little bit, but if you just push them slightly over the edge, the lack of downforce just makes it so much easier to lose control of. The F1 cars, obviously, as we know, tons and tons of downforce, so easy to just throw them into a corner. It's more the hybrid system when you're getting on the power that can cause you to lose control. But even these cars, they might only have a single turbo and no hybrid system, but they've still got a nice bit of punch in the low rev range and the low gears as well. And Recon sliding out of the final corner. He's back up in the 5th place. He's got 5.5 seconds before he catches up to Maze, so up in 4th, and he's got about 6 laps. At the pace he's going now, he should be able to catch him, but can he get past him before the end of the race? So keep an eye on that. That's obviously if he keeps it on the track, because he is hustling, and he is hustling hard.
He is hustling hard. He's got Maze ahead of him now. Of course, they're both in the same car, but they are not on the same team. Everybody is racing for themselves tonight, and at the moment, Lyronics and Lighty yet to come into the pit lane, so that will put Jack in provisional lead of the race, or as we like to call it, the net lead of the race. Recon there in 5th place, closing in on that gap towards Maze ahead. Meanwhile then, Crazy Legs is trying to close in on Charlie ahead of him. Oh, Charlie's lost the back end! Charlie has lost the back end! He taps the wall. That's a bit of front wing gone as well. That's on the exit of turn 10 there. He just lit up those rear tyres, and that is him into the wall. He's able to continue though to rejoin the track, but that is a chunk of front wing off. Now what does he do here? Does he come into the pit lane to change on to a fresh set of soft tyres, or super soft tyres I should say, and try and get to the end of the race? That will involve a front wing change. Or does he try and nurse the car? It looks to me like nursing the car's not an option, Andy.
No, I wouldn't think so. It's, as I say, there's so much less downforce in these cars in comparison to the F1 cars, but you lose any of it and it's starting to understeer really, really badly. Meanwhile, up at the front end, your race leader Lyronics and YT, the two medium runners that still hadn't pitted, have been in now. Lyronics has came out still in second place. He's got a 5.7 second gap, 5.8 second gap to Jack. He's got about 6 laps if you include the one they're on just now to try and attack. Maze is back up into third. Recon's now fourth, with IT dropping down to fifth, but IT will be pretty happy with that because you've got to remember, where did he start? Well, he started at the back of the field, so he's gained 8 places in this race. Spike is up 3, Maze and Lyronics are up 2 each. Your biggest loser is the Gort, who's obviously had that lap 1 incident and 2 pit stops for 2 long front wing changes that we have witnessed now, and Recon down 2 places after the lap 1 incident that took him out. But good recovery drive from the Dutchman coming back through the field, and just jumped on board with him coming out of turn 10, and a little correction there, a little slide towards the wall, wee snap of opposite lock to keep that car pointing in the right direction, but he carries on for now. I think these cars are actually really fun to drive. I prefer these as much as they're difficult in comparison to the F1 cars. I don't know about yourself, Kieran, but I think these are fun to drive because it is just driving the car. It's none of the ERS management, none of the fuel management, just manage the tyres and just drive away, and I think they are a bit of a leveller for some drivers as well. I much more enjoy these cars, to be honest.
I have an opinion, Andy, but there's a reason I'm up in the commentary box. Lighty is trying to chase down Recon then on these super soft tyres. Now the gap is just over a second. Watch out for the gap between the leaders as well, Jack and Lyronics, because remember, Jack has a 3-second time penalty. Not sure about Lyronics, but that gap is coming down, and coming down at a rate
Lyronics does as well.
Okay.
So it's a straight fight. They're both on the same, so it's a straight fight out between the two of them.
So there we are then. So that gap is coming down, and coming down quickly. Spike, meanwhile, having to come back into the pit lane. Of course, you have to run 2 separate compounds, 2 different compounds. And of course, he's done a medium stint, another medium stint. Now he's coming in to put on a fresh set of super soft tyres. And to be honest with you, Andy, that's really the only strategy that could have worked with first lap damage.
Yeah, definitely so, is to run long on the mediums and just hope there was some hassle ahead that you could avoid and pit on the softs towards the end and not lose too many places. He's down to 10th, he's right behind his old sparring partner again, a Traw, that he put a move on earlier in the race. See if he can repeat that very shortly. But yeah, Lyronics is flying, Linety is flying as well. And it just shows you these super soft tyres are working really, really nicely in these late stages. It's a lighter fuel load now, the fuel's burned off from the start of the race, and those guys on the super softs are starting to get an absolute shift on at the moment. YT are getting pretty close to the back of Recon as Lyronics sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1:35.6, and as I look through the fastest laps, nobody else is even in the 35s, and apart from Traw, who's done a 35.9. Lighty's done Recon's done a 36, as has Lighty now. No one else is really in the 35s, as Recon just sticks it up the inside on Maze, squeezes him wide. I'm sure Maze won't be too chuffed at that one. Lighty's going to go through Recon, drifting out of turn number 2, and a late braking move there, a little bit of a squeeze onto the curb, and that's lost Recon 2 places. Lighty's just gone into the back of Recon though, the second time he's been punted in this race. That's given Lighty wing damage on the front as well. I've seen the carbon fibre fly off. Maze retakes 4th position, but that is damage. There it is, wing end plate on the left hand side, our right as we look straight on at it. Lighty's going to be struggling with that car now to the end of the race, and he's now at a point where he might as well just push it to the end of the race. There's so little laps and it's so long to make a pit stop. Meanwhile, Recon's going to look up into turn number 9, his favourite overtaking point. No, he doesn't actually. Locks the brakes up to get it slowed down. Maze getting on the brakes very nicely there, and yeah, bit of drama there. Recon getting through, pushing Maze wide, Lighty coming through as well, and then Lighty just messing up his braking by the looks of it, straight into the back of Recon. Wing damage for the German. The Dutchman back down to 5th place and fighting that car as he tries to get back past it and back into 4th place.
Yeah, you can see he's getting a little bit frustrated there. He thought he had that move done, and then it was all undone in front of him. Meanwhile then, Lyronics is really close to the back of Jack right now with 3 laps to go here in the feature race. Of course, we still have the sprint race to go, and look at that, that's very close there from Recon as he locks up the tyres once again. He's really pushing the limits of this F2 car, but meanwhile now, you see there, Lighty going straight over to the right-hand side to try and break the slipstream. That's going to help Recon. It's not going to help Maze then, down towards turn 1. This time Recon is alongside Maze and makes the move stick this time around. Now he's got Lighty ahead of him, and for a recovery drive, I'd say Recon's having a great race so far. He's got one more position, and then he's on the podium for the feature race. Let's focus our attentions then between Lyronix and Jack, the battle for the lead of the feature race then, as we make our way now down towards turn 9. You see Lyronix closing in at a rate of knots thanks to these super soft tyres. Oh, Jack's lost the back end there, keeps the car in check, but out of turn 10 he's going to be a little bit vulnerable as we head now in towards turn 11. Spike setting the fastest lap of the race so far that extra point is going to him. Lyronix then right on the back of Jack then. This is where the pressure starts to mount. Lyronix now in the slipstream of Jack, 2 TTL F1 champions, season 13 and season 14, battling for the lead of the feature race right now. Lyronix really piling on the pressure now as they make their way through turn 13. Meanwhile then, Recon trying to go up the inside of Lighty in towards turn 11. He's got to bear in mind that front wing damage that Lighty has. They really come side by side, almost making contact, and Recon gets the move done. That was a dicey moment there for the Dutchman, but he makes the move stick and now moves up to 3rd place. Back on board with Lyronix then, with 2 laps to go here in Melbourne for this feature race, and now coming down towards turn 1 through turn 2. And you can see now still right on the back there, not going away anytime soon. Jack's rear tyres are obviously starting to pay a price here. Lyronix here trying to go up the inside, a little bit of a dummy as he now goes around the outside. Oh, he's lost the back end. He tried a little bit of a switchback then, didn't work. The rear tyres were having none of it, and all of that hard work has just come undone again. Still 8 tenths behind, so he's still within DRS range, but that is going to hurt him very, very slightly. But yeah, Recon up to 3rd place. It looked very dicey through turns 11 and 12, and I almost thought they were going to collide there.
I did indeed. I mean, he got by Maze first of all at the start of the lap, a much cleaner move this time, no bumping and barging of any description at all, and then obviously the switch back into the chicane, he's got the better run out of it, and it was a nice move from him to get up into 3rd place. It looked a bit dicey, but it was the right way to do it, and nicely done from a yellow flag in sector 2. Not sure who that is. It's the God again off at the track. Spike's just gone up to 7th place. He's passed Alan, Kay and Charlie within the space of half a lap on his fresh super soft tyres there. Spike, to get by Alan, he done the same thing that Recon did on Lighty, the switch back in the chicane, and got the move done, and he's just passed Charlie into turn number 1. Charlie's now got Alan Kay all over the back of him. Those 2 guys in the ART cars, number 7 and number 8, and they're going to have a wee fight, teammates in the Alfa Romeo and TTL F1 this season that's just passed. We'll see where they end up for season 15, and they're having a bit of scrap on track. But Lyronix, can he do anything on this final lap? Just getting it a bit wrong there, but he is looking so fast at the moment. DRS now down towards turn 3. This is the final lap of the feature race. He's going to the outside. Jack's going to squeeze him. They're going to go side by side. They're bumping and barging. Jack's not giving him any room at all. The elbows are out, and Jack holds on to the lead for now. Remember, they're equal on penalties as well, so this is a straight up fight unless they do anything silly on this last lap, and it is Jack holding on. Those tyres will be struggling. Those super softs are still just about obviously in the window for Lyronix, and they're coming up towards turn 9 now in the final lap. Does he make a move up the inside? No, he thinks better off it, but look how much later he can brake and how much he gains in the braking zone. Jack is sliding everywhere. Be interesting to see who finishes the final lap here in the lead.
Right on board with Lyronix as they make their way through 11, then through 12. As Lyronix picks up the second 3-second time penalty, and that is going to be it. Surely Lyronix then in the slipstream as we now make our way on towards turn 13. He has to go round the long way through 13, and they come together then as Jack there takes the line, and Lyronix is just onto the grass there. To be honest with you, I think that was Jack's corner. Lyronix tried to prolong that move as much as possible, but here is Jack then. So Jack then really coming around the final corner now to take the win here in the feature race. Jack is going to come across the line to take the win in race 1 here in Australia. It's a long way down, but he slides across the line to take the win here in the feature race. 25 points go to him. Lyronics then in second place. Meanwhile, Charlie and Traw now having a battle out of turn 10 and now on towards turn 11. Now we've also got the battle between Lighty and Maze to sort out. Here is Charlie then trying to go around the outside and holds it. Charlie then holds on, but Traw then with those super soft tyres is going to have a better run out of turn 12, and look at that then. He's got the run on Charlie down towards turn 13. The inside line as well. Charlie is not giving up, runs slightly wide, and it costs him a little bit of exit there, and Traw holds on for 8th place. Great battling between the two of them, and Charlie here is really putting up a fight, especially with a damaged front wing as well. An incredible battle from Charlie here as they now make their way through towards the line. Maze finishes in 3rd with Recon 4th, Lighty 5th, Crazy Legs in 6th with Spike in 7th place. Traw and Charlie finish 8th and 9th. In fact, Charlie then beats him on penalties. That's Navy in the background there, who will grab 10th place, and Alan Kay will be finishing in 11th place. The Gort finishing a lap down here in the feature race, so Alan Kay will grab 11th place. But your winner for the feature race here in Australia, 25 points go to Jack with the sprint race to come.
Yeah, some fantastic battling there at the end. Lyronics just running that little bit over chicane to give himself that additional penalty. Maze getting up in the podium there because of the penalties for Recon and Lighty, so keeping his nose clean has got him onto the podium, and Charlie there with that damaged ring on the final lap, just trying to get things done. Alan Cage finished in 11th. That was because he was fighting there with Charlie and Traw as well, but he had a spin coming out of turn 2 on the final lap, which dropped him down the field and actually dropped him behind Navy as well. But really good race there, and Jack's made the strategy work. Lyronics nearly got him on the alternate strategy, coming at him late on with the super soft tyres, but it just wasn't enough. And there are your results for the feature race. It's Jack who wins from Lyronics in 2nd, Maze taking the final podium with Recon in 4th on that recovery drive after getting punted on lap 1. Lighty from the back of the grid up to 5th place with Crazy Legs in 6th. Spike taking 7th. With a 2-stop strategy after damage on lap 1 after that first turn incident. Charlie in 8th, Traw in 9th, Navy in 10th, Alan Kay 11th, the Gort a lap down in 12th, Old Man Barry out in that first lap incident in P13, and you can see there a couple of drivers with the no penalty award. It's Maze, Spike, Charlie and Navy. It's got 4 drivers not getting a single penalty during that race, and fastest lap went to Spike as well.
Absolutely, so 25 points then go to Jack, the season 13 champion, wanting to prove that he's still got it. So he will take the full 25 points. That puts Lyronic 2nd on 18 points, and then we've got Maze in 3rd on 15 points, Recon in 4th on 12 points, Lighty in 5th on 10 points, Crazy Legs in 6th on 8 points. That's then Spike in 7th on 6 points, Charlie in 8th on 4 points, Traw in 9th on 2 points, Navy in 10th with 1 point. So that is what the lineup looks like right about now. So championship standings are exactly as you were. So the top 8 now get reversed. So that means your grid for this race then, it means Charlie is leading them down towards turn 1. Spike is in 2nd place. Crazy Legs in 3rd, Lighty 4th, Recon 5th, Maze 6th, Lyronic 7th, and then Jack starting in 8th. Then Traw in 9th, Navy 10th, Alan Kay in 11th, the Gort in 12th, and Old Man Barry starting in P13. Now, top 8 reversal has been pretty good for F2. It's provided some great racing. Of course, all the drivers then don't have to make a stop in this race. That's why they're all starting on the medium tyres, so that they can actually get to the end of the race without stopping. So then it is Charlie who will lead them down towards turn 1. Spike is a man on a mission. He wants to get a win here. However, because it is the sprint race, less points are on offer. 15 points for the race win here in Australia for the sprint race. Then it is 12 points for 2nd. It's 10 points for 3rd, 8 points for 4th, 6 points for 5th, 5 points for 6th. Then it's 4 points for 7th, 3 points for 8th, 2 points for 9th and 1 point for 10th place, with the fastest lap of the race, whoever finishes in the top 10 getting that extra bonus point. So Andy, it seems here that obviously Jack wants to make it 2 from 2, but he's going to have a bit of competition from Lyronics, who starts in front of him for the sprint race.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, the reverse grid it just obviously throws that extra curveball into the mix. We don't need to worry about pit stops, obviously, unless there's any damage, and of course, as we discussed in that feature race, drivers will be wanting to avoid that as well, because it is a long time to repair that front wing, so especially in a shorter race, that's going to impact you so much more than it would do in a slightly longer one. But this is going to be good. I think Spike's in a pretty good position here if he can keep himself out of trouble on lap 1, starting from second position. He's looked pretty quick after that lap 1 incident in the feature race, and he could be on for the victory here as well. Crazy Legs hasn't looked too bad either. Lighty's been pretty quick too. They've all been pretty good. Recon in 5th be another one to watch out for. You'll be hoping for a much more uneventful race, I would imagine, after race number 1 there. But Lyronics and Jack 7th and 8th. That's going to be the interesting one, because obviously they've got the most points at the moment in regards to who wins the Challenge Cup tonight, and that means that obviously they want to get as far up as possible, so they've got just as much chance of winning even more. And of course, Lyronic's being the Drivers' Champion for TTL F1 Season 14, he's looking to round off the season as a double winner.
Well, we're about to find out what's going to happen here tonight in the sprint race. 12 laps here around Melbourne, no pit stops whatsoever. It is just pure racing to the flag now, with 12 laps here at Melbourne, with the 5 lights coming on here in Melbourne. Sprint race is underway, and what are the starts like? It's a great start from Spike, not a great start from Charlie, and a great start as well from Crazy Legs then as they make their way down towards turn 1. Spike then takes the lead of the sprint race then as we make our way through. Then there's a little bit of contact in the background. That's someone who spun. That's Alan Kay, was it? Or Crazy Legs? No, it was Crazy Legs who spun around at turn 1. I don't think anyone else got involved, or was it the Gort there? I think the Gort might have got a little bit tangled up in it. A little bit of front wing loss there, but meanwhile it's a huge pack now coming down towards turn 3, then through turn 4. Maze now back up to 3rd place. Lyronics also in 4th place. It's a great start from him as they make their way too wide through turn 5. Somehow they made it through. Recon onto the grass there, and you can see there how difficult these starts are in the sprint race. You've got the top guys coming through from 8th place, the slower guys coming through from the lead of the race, and Spike, who's just kept his head clear, absolutely monster laps from him right now to try and get away. Lyronics and Maze now going side by side through turns 9 and 10. Lyronics gets the move done and moves up on towards the podium positions, but Lighty's got a great run on Maze then as they make their way down towards turn 11. Oh, Lighty tags the wall on the right hand side. Does he have damage, I wonder? I don't think so. I think he's got away with that. Very, very lucky indeed, but he's looking to pile on that pressure on Maze ahead of him down towards now turn 13. Up the inside he goes, and Lighty takes away 4th place. He's got the move done. Maze there drops down to 5th place. You've also got Traw in the background there in 6th place, and well, to be fair, Lighty and Traw are inseparable. TTL F1 teammates last season, they're still in the same car, even in the Challenge Cup when teams don't matter. They cannot be separated, but Jack here is looking to try and make his way through. Of course, he's got to try and get through and score as many points as he possibly can, and he is currently in 7th place. Meanwhile, that is a move there from Jack, trying to go up to 6th place there as Straw finds himself onto the grass there. Jack being very, very aggressive indeed. Oh, a little bit of contact in the background. That is Recon, who somehow managed to hold on to the car there. Don't know how he did that. Side by side, we've got Traw and Navy there. Oh, Navy loses the back end, and he now drops in. So Recon now moves up to 8th place. It's non-stop action. Andy, you're going to have to steal this mic from me. But after lap 1, Spike leads from Charlie in 2nd and Lyronics in 3rd.
That was absolutely manic. They were at one point going down to turn 13, they were 3 wide. I'm currently watching Lyronics going the long way round turn 8 up towards turn 9 on Charlie, and he's got that move done nicely into the turn 9 10 chicane. But these cars, you know, between Lighty down to, well, Navy even as well, they are nose to tail. The God has retired, had a few spins in that first lap. Navy's just got back past on Recon as well, who had a huge tank slapper coming out of turn 2 on that lap there. How he kept that one together, I do not know, but this is keeping us going. Meanwhile, speaking of keeping us going, here comes Jack. No DRS yet, going to the outside of Maze. Maze is going to squeeze him right up to the track limits. A little bump of the wheels, he gives him the space, but Jack has to use the curbs, and Maze holds on to the position there. Little bump on the way through from the Dam's car to the Dam's car, and Maze is possibly going to lose that position. Look out in the background, though, there's Tron, the Russian time car, trying to make his way through as well, and trying to pick up the space, but that is Jack through and up into 5th place. Maze, he needs to get a move on because Lyronix is up in second, about 7 seconds roughly up the road, give or take, and that is his closest battle, championship rival, so to speak, for this Challenge Cup. So he needs to get a move on. Tro looking all over the back of Maze, but there's not much he can do there at the moment, and Maze holds on to that position. Recon having another eventful race already, and Spike at the moment just doing what he needs to do. I did say if he can get away at the start, he's probably in a good position to win this race, and well, so far it's going pretty well. Lap 3 now, DRS is now enabled, and it is Spike, Lyronix and Charlie top 3, Lighty 4th, Jack up to 5th. You've got Maze, Tro, Navy and Recon pretty much almost nose to tail through some of these corners, and 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th for Alan K rounding out the top 10. Crazy Legs in 11th, Old Man Barry down in 12th. He had a spin on lap 1 as well, and Nagort had a few spins on lap 1 and decided I can't be bothered with this and retired from the race.
So Nagort then will score 0 points for the Challenge Cup. And meanwhile then Spike really has to have the perfect sprint race. Currently he's on 7 points right now. A win and the fastest lap would get him 16 points. So, you know, it's going to be very, very tough for him to have a shot at winning this one. Meanwhile, Tro then trying to go down the inside at turn 13. Maze tries to shut the door, but there's no way to do that as Tro finds his way through now. Navy's trying to go up the inside at turn 14. No room for him there, but Maze tried to defend aggressively, but Tro stuck his nose in, kept on it, and got that position. Spike once again, fastest lap of the race there, 136.888. And Jack now tries to close in on Lighty with the slipstream. And now we'll move to that left-hand side to try and take turn 1 there. But Lighty on the inside. Oh, he loses the back end there. And he just about keeps it out of Jack there. Jack makes the move. Brave stuff to put it around the outside when he knew Lighty was going to run deep into turn 1 there. Very brave stuff. Meanwhile, Recon gets away past Navy then as they make their way now down towards turn 3. Maze, meanwhile, trying to put that pressure back onto Tro as we make our way through turn 4 on towards 5 now. And yeah, we're almost a quarter way through this race, and the battling hasn't stopped from lap 1. It really hasn't.
No, definitely not. This is reminiscent of doing the mini leagues, which, by the way, there's another one coming up at the end of this month. Keep watching the TTTV for more details. Navy's just got repassed Recon. Now, it's exactly the same way that Recon got by him at the start of the lap. Navy got sideways out of turn 1 and 2. Recon had an easy run down to turn 3. Well, Recon's just done the exact same thing there and lost the place. Meanwhile, Jack has got past on Charlie before they even reached the fast chicane there. So he must have got a much better run out of that turn 10 corner out the chicane. And he's now up in the 3rd place. Lyronix is 5 seconds up the road. He's about 5 seconds behind Spike, so not too bad at the moment for Spike. All the battling is in the midfield. Lighty there, right onto the back of Charlie now. In the Russian time car, the ART machine just up ahead, but Lighty has picked up a penalty already. 3 seconds is a big sideways moment for Lighty there. That's going to allow Tro the opportunity to try and get past here through the final corner, but he's not going to be able to do very much, and Tro doesn't have any DRS. He wasn't within a second. That's not going to make a difference. He's nearly doing a bump draft down towards turn 1, but he thinks better of it and drops it back into position. Can he get a good run out of the corner? Meanwhile, Recon's in pit lane. I'm going to keep an eye on that. Yeah, he's changing his front wing, so he's at the moment. That's a long pit stop, as we mentioned earlier. Tro unable to do anything on Lighty, so he holds on to 5th place at the moment as Maze. Oh, he's just gone off there, off the track. I'm not sure, just caught the end of that there. Navy, don't know if he had a quick contact or something, and Maze has left the session, so he's now ghost carring, so that's why it looked a bit funny on my screen. He's obviously had a disconnection. Hopefully he can get back in before the end of the race.
Yeah, Lighty really trying to put the pressure on Charlie, but he's got the pressure from Tro behind him as well. So it's going to be really nip and tuck for the two Germans right now as they look to try and get past Charlie. Really nip and tuck for Tro as he puts out the back end out of turn 10. Really wheel spinning there, but what I'm finding is that cars are wheel spinning out of turn 10, but they're not actually losing too much time. It's almost like it's the optimum line as Tro then picks up a 3-second time penalty for his troubles through turn 11 and through turn 12. Here is Lighty then riding on board as we now break our way down towards turn 13. Charlie runs a little bit wide on exit then. This could give him the run then down towards turn 14. But no, Lighty can't quite make the move stick. He's under immense pressure from Tro right now. Oh, then the touch! And Lighty goes straight on and around! Oh, the two Germans collide in towards turn 15. And Traw just missed his braking point there. Charlie was around as well. I think, oh, Lighty's lost the back end again. Well, burning hot rear tyres there. That's what that is. And he's still going. He's doing donuts now. I don't think he's meaning to. But out of turn 15 there, yeah, it was Traw who bumped into Lighty. Left his braking too late there. And don't take everything at face value, of course, especially in lobbies where we're just having a little bit of internet trouble. You see Maze join back into the lobby as well. So it looks like there, Traw just missed his braking point and made contact with Lighty. That then put Lighty straight on, speared into the side of Charlie. A whole mess at turn 15 there. But what that means is Lighty is all the way now down in 11th place. He will be hugely frustrated and feel quite aggrieved at that one.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Obviously, we can only take it in what we see. You know, for all we know, the point of views might be different, but it did look like that Traw just completely missed braking zone. Lighty's decided he's had enough after that, so he's retired from the session. Traw got into the back of Lighty. Lighty then got completely speared like an absolute missile into the side of Charlie, and that just caused obviously the mayhem that we watched on screen. Traw was able to carry on from that. Had a wee fight with Navy there, and then ended up in 4th position going into turn number 1 after all of that. But if we take it on what we've seen, you'd have to say it's Traw at fault there because he's missed his braking zone. But as you said, Mace had just rejoined back into the lobby, which he is entitled to do if he'd been in the lobby during the race and dropped out. That is fine, that is within the rules. And obviously, though, that can cause issues. Oh, that was neat. He's just going round out at turn number 3. Huge thump to the pit side wall. There's bound to be damage to that front wing. That's what the yellow flags are. They will disappear pretty quickly. And yeah, there's definitely damage on the side end fence. There's a lot of front wing missing there, and that is going to ruin Navy to his race. He's going to be in pit lane before long and back down the field along with Recon, who's obviously pitted already and replaced his front wing, and that means Traw's now got a bit of a reprieve at the moment in terms of the pressure behind him. Up the front though, the gaps have kind of stabilised. Spike around about 5.2 seconds, keeping it nice and clean. Lyronics just can't close the gap up at all. Jack though can't close up on Lyronic, still 6.5 seconds, 6.4 at the moment, so top 3 are looking pretty set just now, and I'm not quick enough for the maths that are available, but I think Jack will take the victory still if it finishes as it is. We'll wait until we've done the actual sums, obviously.
Yeah, well, I can tell you right now that as it stands right now, Jack will be winning the Challenge Cup by 5 points. And that, of course, is if neither of them get the fastest lap of the race, which, if we have a look at that right now, let's see what that is. It's actually Recon who has the fastest lap of the race, but because he's outside of the top 10, that point will not be awarded to anybody. Meanwhile, Charlie then going around the outside of Navy, and that move seemed a bit inevitable as Navy has lost that chunk of front wing as he moves to the side and rather lets people come through. That is going to be heartbreaking for Navy. As you say, made that mistake out of the final corner, possibly the worst place to do it because he has to do an entire lap with that broken front wing. So he is going to be hugely, hugely frustrated as he makes his way now back to the pit lane. But he's staying in this race for now. And meanwhile, Maze on the back of Charlie, opening up that DRS and looking to try and have a move on Charlie ahead of him with 5 laps to go. 4 and a bit if you're picky.
Yeah, Maze trying to close up to the back of Charlie. He can sniff 5th place at the moment, and what would be a pretty good result for him as well, having gotten the podium in the first race. He's going to go to the outside line into turn number 3. Can he hang it around the outside? No, he cannot. The ART machine. Oh, Maze into the wall there this time as well. That's wing. That's damage to the wing. Yes, right hand side end fence missing from the Dams car now. So it looks like he just got on the throttle a little bit eagerly, coming out of the corner. It's just pitched him to the right hand side very violently into the wall, and that car now has damage to it. So that quick charge there, just as I say it, my commentator's curse has cursed another driver, unfortunately, and the other ART machine of Alan Kay is now closing in on the back of Maze in Dam's car. Will he try and push it to the end, or will he go and change his wing? We'll need to wait and see, but Navy came into pit lane, changed that wing, and he dropped behind Recon, and that quite shows you how much time he loses as well, because on that lap that Navy pitted, Recon spun out of turn 10 and was facing the wrong way at one point, and he's still 9 seconds clear of him.
Really just shows it on not only on paper but in real life as well. So yeah, that just shows you how crucial the front wing is around here and how crucial it is not to lose any part of it, because not only does it cost you time on track, but off it, in the pit lane, you will lose a mountain of time. You can see there Mays actually staying out, so he wants to finish this race with the front wing as is. He sees no point in pitting in, but you could see the understeer through turn 16. He's really going to struggle in these closing stages, and Alan Kay will be rubbing his hands together if he could. And Recon has retired from the race then completely. Let's see what's happened to him, and Recon has lost it just before the penultimate corner. So he's obviously got on the I think he's got on the curb on the exit of 14, and that has spun his car, lit up the rear tyres and gone into the wall on the right hand side just on the entrance to turn 15. So very unfortunate there for Recon, as his day is done. He was very aggressive, wanted to prove a point. He finished 4th in the feature race, but he will DNF the sprint race here, as Spike up ahead at the front has got himself a 3-second time penalty. How will that affect the battles as we go through? Old man Barry there making contact with Alan Kay, and Alan Kay's around. Yeah, contact made there to Old man Barry and Alan Kay, and that is that's Old man Barry getting a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Alan Kay as they made their way down.
I think he should wait for him.
Well, he's not waiting for him, he's going for it.
No, I think he should though.
As he make his way down towards 11 and 12. He's going for it though, as he now makes his way through. So he is in 8th place right now, but I think the stewards will want a bit of a closer look at that one when this race is done and dusted. Meanwhile then, not often do you have a stream where we don't mention Spike, especially last season when he was in that championship battle the whole way until the final race of the season, where he lost it. He lost the title, and to be honest with you, he was here for fun. So he was very happy to be in the title hunt, but he said, you know what, if I win it, I win it. If I don't, I don't. I can handle it. And he's showing right now in this sprint race that he's got the head on him to come through adversity. Obviously, he didn't have the best feature race. He was caught up at turn 1. He had to make 2 stops in the feature race. He still finished in 7th place in that feature race. Got the fastest lap as well. And you can see here, Spike is one of those people who is a determined racer. He wants to finish races, and he wants to finish them well. But Lyronix, into this closing stage of this race, we have to check for those penalties. Spike has a 3-second time penalty. I don't think Lyronix has any penalties whatsoever with 3 laps to go. It's going to be a tough ask for Lyronix. 1.9 seconds. This could be the difference here. At 7 points, actually it won't. If Jack finishes in 3rd place, and Lyronix wins, that's 5 points between them. Neither of them have fastest laps. So as it stands, even if Lyronix wins the race and Jack finishes in 3rd, Jack will still be crowned the Challenge Cup winner. And of course we head on to the penultimate lap now.
Yeah, definitely. So Lyronix doesn't have any penalties, so it is a 2-second gap basically. Behind Mays at the moment, who's just pushing on with that front wing damage. I'll take back the bit with Old man Barry carrying on. He's when he was going for pit lane, me out with fast chicane, and he's not the first driver to have done that. I have done that so I've lost count. So many times.
I'm hoping Andy's connection is alright, because he just keeps cutting out every other syllable. But here's Crazy Legs then coming down towards turn 1, wanting to make that move stick. Mays there trying to get the braking stuck in there. He's trying to make a battle of this with half a front wing on the car as we now make our way up towards turn 3, and Mays is still there, but Crazy Legs has the DRS then up towards turn 3. Mays still around the outside, wants to make this battle. Through turn 4 we go, and Mays holds on. Really good defensive driving from Mays there with only part of a front wing, and Crazy Legs there just had to back out of it. No way through for him so far. And Spike then will round his way around the last couple of corners, and eventually he will start the final lap of the race, 5 seconds ahead of Lyronix, unless he has a major mistake on the final lap. He looks pretty comfortable out there. Nothing wrong with not being on the stream, especially if you're leading the race by 5 seconds. It normally means you're doing a good job. Spike then starts the final lap of the sprint race and the final lap of the TTL F1 Season 14 Challenge Cup, as he makes his way through turn 1, through that long left-hander of turn 2 as well. Watch out here for Crazy Legs and Maze, because they're still battling here. Coming down towards turn 13. Crazy Legs wanting to move up the inside. Still, he's got the move there. Up the inside he goes, loses that back end, gathers the car up again, and now in towards turn 14. He's got the inside line. Maze is willing to stick it around the outside. He's got the inside line, has he, for turn 15? Crazy Legs misses his braking point, runs deep into 15. That allows Maze to try and have a go round the outside, but he's got less downforce here. And if Crazy Legs wants Maze one place, it's the outside of a corner where the turn-in is even more severe. But Maze now has more DRS. He has the DRS down towards turn 1. So he's got half a chance here of getting a move done in towards turn 3. We've already seen how good Maze is at defending, but attacking with half a front wing is an entirely different story. Trying to make his way down towards turn 3. You can see there the lack of aero has really cost him into turns 1 and 2, and he's fallen away slightly from Crazy Legs then. But Spike here making his way now down towards 13 here. Second place in the TTL F1 Drivers' Championship. Only losing to Lyronix as he makes his way now through turn 14 and on towards turn 15 and 16 for the final time here in season number 14. Spike making his way around the final corner, and he will go towards the line. It's a long, long way to that finishing line, but Spike wins the sprint race here in TTL F1 Challenge Cup. Lyronix comes across the line to take second place. He'll take 12 points there for that championship standing in the Challenge Cup. But Jack here is going to finish in third place, which means he does win that Challenge Cup. Jack wins the Challenge Cup in season 14. 2 good drives. He fully deserves that one. Great battles with Lyronix as well. Draw then finishes in 4th place. Charlie in 5th at the moment. A great sprint race for him. He's had a great night. He nursed a car home with front wing damage to 8th place in the feature race. Now he's finishing the sprint race in 5th place, rapidly improving, and he's going to be on the radar here. Charlie then in 5th place. A great race from him. Crazy Legs comes across the line in 6th place, with Maze across the line in 7th. Navy will come across the line in 8th place, so long as he can get those tyres to the checkered flag, which he can. So Navy then, it's not been a great sprint race for him, and he knows that. 8th place for him as he crosses the line. Alan Kay then makes his way around the final corner. No points in the feature race, but points in the sprint race. It's going to be 2 points for Alan Kay as he crosses that start-finish line. And then Barry here, who got caught up at the end there, well, he'll grab a point in the sprint race. He didn't finish this feature race last time around at the very start of the stream. Spike then wins the sprint race, but your unofficial Challenge Cup winner is Jack.
Yeah, fantastic stuff from the outgoing TTL champion, season 13 champion Jack, taking the Challenge Cup victory ahead of the new TTL F1 season 14 champion Lyronix, and that has been a really, really good night, worth a racing indeed. Spike though taking that victory, as you said, we didn't see him. It's usually a good sign, it means you're doing everything right. Lyronix, Jack and Tro gained 5 places in that race. Tro, obviously, we've obviously mentioned that part where he ended up in the back of Lighty. Hard to tell, obviously. It looked like it was a missed braking zone, but could have been a connection issue for all we know. But fun night worth of racing, and really enjoyed it there. And there are the results of the sprint race. Spike wins from Lyronix in 2nd, Jack takes out 3rd, and the unofficial winner of the Challenge Cup, Tro, in 4th, Charlie in 5th, with Crazy Legs and Maze 6th and 7th, no penalties for those 3. Navy taking 8th place and the fastest lap, Alan Kay in 9th with no penalties. Old Man Barry rounds out the top 10 with Recon, Lighty and the Gort, your 3 DNFs.
Well, I have to say, Andy, it was a great night of racing, and Jack there wraps up the Challenge Cup, and he wins it and adds another trophy from the TTL mantelpiece onto, well, his mantelpiece. I don't really know where I was going with that one, but anyway. Of course, we do have the driver announcements. Now, they were originally scheduled for 9:45 tonight. It's safe to say, Andy, I feel like doing it now. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I think we should pull that forward a little bit. I think we could bring that to let's give it 5 minutes, let the drivers get everything ready so they can see where they're going to end up next season. Let's get that going, I think, for 1:15. What do you think? That sounds good to me.
I think that sounds good indeed. So 9:15, so that is, from our time scale, that's 8 minutes from now? Can you hold on 8 minutes to find out where you're going to be next season? I think you can, just a quick one, Andy, from you. We've seen some good racing tonight. We've seen Jack win the Challenge Cup, and we know how big winning the Challenge Cup can actually be. So what are you expecting then for next season? If Jack is retained, could he mount a championship challenge once again?
If he's around for every race of the season, then yeah, absolutely. We know he's got the pace. He's one of the, he's a very, very quick driver. He dominated, obviously, through his championship winning year. I think he was on the podium like 12 races in a row at one point. So we know how quick he can be. And if he can put in a full season, I would, as I say, it's plenty of time on a Thursday night on this season with TTL F1. If Jack had been around every race, along with Spike and Lyronix, that would be a heck of a battle. If you can then put Recon into the mix as well, if you can avoid some of the hassles he had early season, and even someone like Warren as well, who was quick in his initial races, we've got a lot of good drivers that are all on a very good and similar-ish sort of level on a given night, and it's a very close field, and if everyone performs the way they can, could be very interesting. And obviously we've got the driver announcements coming up. Not going to give anything away, but there is a couple of changes, is all I'm going to say.
You know
Just
what?
to tease you a bit more.
You know what? 1:15 doesn't work for me. We're going to end the stream and we are going to start that premiere. So it will be a premiere if you've ever watched the TTL Classic, which there should be more. I want there to be more. I'm in charge of it, so there really should be more. Anyway, obviously the way a TTL Classic works is it works as a premiere, so it's like a live stream, but it's not. We all find out together, because if we set it as a public video, just upload it and whatever, you'd all skip to you and you'd find out. No, we're not having that. We are not having that. We're going to find out together.
No, exactly. And the thing is as well, when we recorded it, as if we were doing it live as well. We didn't. The only bit we only edited one bit. And you'll see what bit that is, obviously. We done the whole thing in one take, because that's just how we do things, that's just how we roll.
That is just how we roll, we love it. So we're going to end the stream here, and we're going to start the premiere, so make sure you've hit the notification bell. Once you're subscribed to TTTV, you'll be notified that the premiere is going live. So I think, Andy, what we should do is stop talking, end the stream, and let's see where everybody gets to be.
Let's do it.
Thank you for watching the stream. We'll see you in the chat for the Season 15 driver lineups, which will be starting very shortly. Don't go away.